Good morning, Assalamu alaikum. It's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation and for allowing me to say a few words. It's been really interesting hearing from the staff at SOAS about the impact Hussain and his family made at this institution. Unfortunately, I never had the pleasure of meeting Hussain or getting to know him. So I'll share with you today a different perspective, one very much with my council hat on as the cabinet lead for community safety. And just to set the scene, I'll tell you a bit about Waltham Forest. Waltham Forest is a diverse borough where we have people who celebrate what we have in common, celebrate our differences, a real sense of community spirit, where we celebrate one another's successes. And we also stand together when there are moments of hardship and challenges. In my role as community safety lead, I receive a briefing every time there is a knife crime incident in the borough. And I also receive follow-up emails about the aftermath. And this case was no different. I received a briefing and I continue to receive updates. But the response and the impact was certainly unique. Initially what I saw was a real sense of community trauma. Families putting themselves in the Chaudhry family's shoes, thinking how easily that could have been one of their loved ones who had been lost to violent crime. And as the facts came through in the hours that preceded, that fear changed to inspiration and hope. And on reflecting, you think about how do we go from community trauma and being fearful to really a borough that was inspired and hopeful. And for me it was inspired because we had lost a young person who, because of his values, because of his principles and honour, made an instinctive decision to defend his mother and his home. And hope because this was a young person who embodied all of the values that many have spoken about here today in terms of hard work ethic that we want to see in all of our young people. Waltham Forest lost a son. And Hussain is very much a role model for many young people in not just Waltham Forest, but SOAS University and wider. Hussain's loss really brought our borough together. And what we saw was an outpouring of emotion and solidarity for the family. And then we saw a ripple effect right across London, right across the country, and actually internationally. As part of those briefings I was receiving, we were getting press stories from around the world. And it just showed the impact Hussain's death had had on the conversation around violence, as well as young people, and the sorts of role models we need in our society. And so, I really want to pay tribute to the family. At that time of the outpouring of emotions and solidarity from around the world, they very quickly set up a foundation which allowed people to channel a lot of their emotions and energy through that foundation. And given the fact that we were in the middle of the pandemic, you weren't able to visit the family to pay your respects. They weren't able to have the support structure that they might have had if it hadn't been for COVID. And to see the overwhelming response at the janazah, where there was no space left inside the mosque, there was no space left outside the mosque, and people were having to pray on the pavements outside. And it just showed the impact Hussain's loss had on us as a borough. I'd like to just finish by saying that as a council, we look forward to working with the family, with the Hussain Foundation, to very much celebrate Hussain's spirit and legacy and ensure it lives on. And I see it as our duty, not just as a council, as a borough. And I see lots of our citizens playing a role in that also. Thank you.